The American dream cannot become a reality without realizing your dream, without taking action on your dream and taking the risk and fighting for your dream. And that's the way it really is. That's the truth about any great achievement or accomplishment in life. It requires energy and focus and desire. And if you don't have these things, then it will be very, very difficult for you to succeed and to reach those places, those higher echelons of success in life and in business especially. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as a risk taker, a hero, valiant? Or do you want to be remembered as one of the average normal ones who nobody remembered their name? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Brendan Ecker Influence, where I teach you how to succeed, accomplish your dreams, and develop multiple income streams. Today's episode is the top 10 strategies millionaires use to get wealthy. Number 10, taking calculated risks. Taking calculated risks is a very important part about being an entrepreneur. It's what separates you from all of the employees in the world, all the people who chose the easy way. What separates you from being like everybody else in the entrepreneurial space is, again, taking calculated risks. They'll spend their entire lives investing in a 401k. They'll spend their entire lives investing in a pension, working at the same place for decades upon decades until they can finally pull out that pension. But here's the kicker. There are people making $100 million a month. There are people making $100,000 a day. People are buying Lamborghinis right off the lot. People are leasing them like it's crazy. Private jets are being chartered like you wouldn't believe. And you can make a whole business out of that. What if you were to make a business out of chartering private jets? Now, it sounds crazy. But what if you were to actually put yourself around those people, taking calculated risks? Well, Tesla, for example, Elon Musk's company, many of his companies, but Tesla specifically has almost gone bankrupt and out of business several different times. Several. And what happened? Well, Elon kept going. Elon kept building the business. He kept making cars. He kept selling cars. Did whatever he had to do to keep the business going. If he had to start more businesses, that's what he would do, but he'd sell and he'd make money doing it. So whether it was through PayPal's or the Boring Company, or whether it was through SpaceX, vice versa, the companies pay each other, right? And this is how he's able to continue building and innovating. You continue creating deals. You continue taking calculated risks. When you take calculated risks, the world will favor you. The universe will be in your favor because the fortune favors the bold. As once stated by Alexander the Great, toil and risk are the price of glory. But it is a lovely thing to live with courage and die in everlasting fame. And that's true. How badly do you want to leave behind a legacy for the actions and the choices you've made? Do you want to be a man of action? Or do you want to be a human being who is just a wannabe? Do you want to be a wantrepreneur? Or are you an entrepreneur? Are you willing to take the risk? Let's also look at the quote by Theodore Roosevelt, the poem by Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the very best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. What does this mean to you? To me, it's clear. You have to take risks. You must be a trailblazer and a maverick, because the American way, the American dream, cannot become a reality without realizing your dream, without taking action on your dream and taking the risk and fighting for your dream. And that's the way it really is. That's the truth about any great achievement or accomplishment in life. It requires energy and focus and desire. And if you don't have these things, then it will be very, very difficult for you to succeed and to reach those places, those higher echelons of success in life and in business especially. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as a risk taker, a hero, valiant? Or do you want to be remembered as one of the average normal ones who nobody remembered their name? Therefore, never be afraid to take risks. Be a risk taker. Be a maverick. Be brave. Be courageous. You take many risks and take them often, because the brave man will succeed and prevail. The brave will be remembered in the history books. Continuous learning and self-education. So you can't be successful in business unless you are a learning machine. So one of the things that I've noticed about entrepreneurs is that once they start to see failure at a frequent enough rate, usually you'll see them start to die down. You'll see them start to quit. And this is something I noticed with myself. Okay, so I have noticed myself become burnt out in several different business ventures. It happens. It's a normal part of the process and the game. However, you cannot be lazy and you cannot let anything happen to where it's going to destroy your business. You have to make sure you're staying focused on getting the sales all the time. You always have to be learning. You always have to be reading books. Don't let anybody tell you you shouldn't read books. Don't let anybody tell you you should never be educated. Don't ever let your teachers in school tell you that you should never question anything. Don't let your teachers tell you that you don't have a mind of your own. Don't let them tell you that you must raise your hand before you can ask for permission to leave the room. Okay, understandable. Sure. Well, Brendan, the teacher must know where you're going. Do they have to know that you're going to the bathroom? It's well over a debate. If you truly want to succeed in business, if you truly want to succeed in entrepreneurship, I've learned that you must be a learning machine. You must learn how to adapt. You must learn how to become a trendsetter. You must learn how to find the most popular ideas that are happening in your culture, in your society, and you must find and exploit the missing gaps. So what does that mean? Well, what this means is finding those gaps that nobody else has solved yet, those chinks in the chain that haven't been linked. And when you create the chinks in the chain of the armor that haven't been linked yet, when you solve the problems, then suddenly you become a leader in your field. But this doesn't happen until you've learned. So you must go through a process of learning. So before you can make money, you must understand how to make money. You must understand what money is. You must understand where money comes from. Why does money exist? How does it flow? What is the idea of a Federal Reserve? What is a 1031 tax-deferred exchange? What is a 363 sale in business? Do you know? What are the rules if you have an S corporation versus an LLC? How many times do you need to file every single year? How many pieces of paperwork do you actually need to put in that S corporation tax filing? A lot. But you wouldn't know that until you learned it. So you need to learn these things. What's the difference between an LLC and an S corporation? So you need to learn all of this. Why is business probably the most efficient lifestyle? Again, books are my suggestion to you. And some of my favorite books are Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Atomic Habits, Barbarians versus Bureaucrats, The Richest Men in Babylon, the Holy Bible, especially the Holy Bible, favorite book on earth. It'll give you the most wisdom you need, and it's a historical textbook, essentially. Spiritual as well. Can you interpret and decipher the interesting words of the Bible? What are some other great books you can learn from about business? I definitely recommend The Alchemist. I actually just started reading The Alchemist. Fantastic book about a young man who wants to build an empire. He wants to become a baker and fall in love with a woman, but he can't do this. And he realizes that there's so much more to the world, and there's so much more about realizing dreams and fulfilling your personal legacy is what this book, The Alchemist, is about. Have you read that book? Have you understood what it means to realize your legacy and to chase it actively and to take action? You must learn. Before you can do anything and have the dreams you want, you must become a learning machine. You must continuously learn and be invested in self-education. When you start to make money, don't put as much money into the savings. Put money into learning. Put money into bettering your skills, your understanding of the world, knowledge, all of this. Because if you can understand these things, then that'll bring you to the next step, which is most important, adopting a growth mindset. So in order to succeed in business, you have to believe in yourself. So that's really where we're talking about this paradox of the growth mindset. So the growth mindset is personal development, self-improvement, the stuff everybody laughs at, right? The motivational quotes that people roll their eyes at. But listen, at the end of the day, you need this. If you want to succeed in business, you're going to need to have some self-motivation, some intrinsic motivation. If you're going to want a world where you can actually make your family happy, when you can give them a life that they want, when you can give your wife the house and the dog and the kids and the diamond ring and the flowers all the time and just the basic, everything of your life as a man or a woman. But how are you going to support that? Well, you need to know how to grow. And so one of the keys to growing in business is, again, yes, learning, but also taking action and taking steps. There are actionable steps that you must take. Right? In order to get your first review, your first testimonial for a service business, for example, you need to do the work. You need to offer free value first. So if you don't offer the free value, then it's going to be harder for you to get those sales. You always got to have a growth mindset. You always got to be in a mindset that I have to get better today. I have to get better today. Every single day you should be exercising at least 30 minutes. Every single day. This is not a 3 times a week thing. This is not a 5 times. This isn't a 1 time a week thing. This is a 7 days a week thing. And you should try to do it every day. Now eventually you'll find a system where, you can take a couple days off here and there. But ideally, you should always want to grow every single day. You should have a routine. Working out should be a 30-minute routine minimum. It doesn't matter if it's cardiovascular workouts. It doesn't matter if it's bench press, weightlifting. It doesn't matter if it's any of that. It can be aerobic, it can be cardiovascular, it can be calisthenics, it can be just stretching, whatever. You need to be physically in shape. You need to be mentally in shape. Everything. Your mind has to be a rock. Your mind has to be an enigma to the outside masses because everybody thinks they already know you. So know that you can grow and don't let anybody tell you can't, and understand how to do it. Understand that in order to grow, you must learn. You must go through the process of failures. You must go through the process of learning. So before you can get rich, one of the most important things you can remember in your business is to adopt the growth mindset. Let's talk about leveraging personal branding. Personal branding is a very powerful concept because let's look at some of our favorite icons in business. So we have Grant Cardone. He actually just spoke for Donald Trump. Good job, Grant Cardone. We also have Tai Lopez, Alex Hormozi. I always like to mention these 3. These are the gentlemen who taught me the most about business. So I always try to give them credit whenever I can because I learned a lot of what I know from them, and it helped me and it changed my life tremendously. Okay, so you need to be able to leverage a personal brand. What is a personal brand? A personal brand is what people say about you. It's what people associate with you. A personal brand is how people identify you. Okay, so let's use an example. Alex Hormozi is the $100 million leads guy. Alex Hormozi is the gym launch guy. Alex Hormozi is the dude with the nose strips, right? He's known for this personal brand. Now let's go to Tai Lopez. What's Tai Lopez's personal brand? Tai Lopez's brand is all about books, knowledge, reading. That's kind of how people associate with him. And then also they associate with live streaming, perhaps. If you really follow Tai Lopez, people associate Tai Lopez with e-learning because he got famous and big through selling e-learning courses. And he was smart to do that. And so you should do that. So you can't do any of these things until you've leveraged the personal brand. The best business on earth is a business about you, is a business about who you are, is a business is about what's up here in your mind and who and where did you come from. That's a personal brand. What is your business? What is your service? What do you as a human being, a person, offer to the audience? That's a personal brand. Leveraging a personal brand is one of the most important and critical ways to differentiating yourself from every single other entrepreneur. Because guess what? There's a lot of roofing companies in the world. There's a lot of roofing companies. There's a lot of HVAC companies. There's a lot of marketing agencies, especially. My market is saturated. When I go on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I find a high amount of competition. Definitely. It's a very saturated market because you make a lot of money. There's a lot of money in this business, And so because of that, everybody's doing it. But it doesn't matter. Who's going to leverage the personal brand? Me. Who's going to leverage the personal brand? You. So in order to create a business that's going to really work and stand out, you have to differentiate yourself, because people are going to invest in you at the end of the day. People are going to invest in an idea more than they are some solution, right? People want goals. People want to have a real success. People want results. And so people associate the results with the brand. Okay, so Lamborghini is a brand. All right, Apple is a brand. You get so big, people associate with luxury, perfection, essentially, with those brands in particular. So what are you going to do to leverage your personal brand? I recommend starting a YouTube channel, organic content on LinkedIn, schedule out some content with ChatGPT, super easy, do it across every single platform you can, get comfy in your whatevers, and then just get to work. because this will be a very powerful way to kick off your business and to start you off. That's what we did for a lot of our clients. One of the main things that differentiate our agency is that we help you create a personal brand. So your website, for example, we'll create a website specifically like just for you as a person, and then we'll connect your person with your brand. Does that make sense? So we're going to connect who you are, your name, with your business. And then boom, now it's a personal brand. Now you're an individual. Now people want just you. And so the value you offer somebody can be a much more powerful lever. So leverage personal branding. The long-term vision. I like this. So the long-term vision is very, very important. If you don't got the vision, if you ain't got the distance, if you don't have the foresight, then you're never going to be able to truly accomplish everything that God put in your mind. You must understand that in order to succeed, you need to have the vision. Nobody really sees what they want. Nobody knows or realizes their own goals. And this is a very big problem for an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a clear directive and a clear line of laser focus and attack, then it's going to be hard for you to execute on those exact goals. So make sure that on your way to success, make sure that on your way to building your first empire, your first business, understand that you need to have, you as the CEO are the long-term vision. You as the CEO are the vision. Okay, let's remember Steve Jobs and all of his team who hated his guts. And I'm not going to commend him for necessarily being an a-hole. However, Steve Jobs was an extraordinary leader who was well respected and admired despite his very mean, aggressive nature towards other human beings. Despite that, he was highly, highly respected, and people worked hard for him because they also feared him. But that's a whole different story. You know, Steve Jobs had the long-term vision, and that was the difference. Steve Jobs knew nothing about iPhones. Steve Wozniak was the original technical engineer for the iPhones. Steve Jobs was the visionary, baby. Steve Jobs was the eyeballs. He was the mind. He was the focused, he was the vision, the future for Apple. And it's a fascinating thing to look at that and to see a man who just, because of his creativity, his mind, his brain, where he wanted to go, he was able to run the entire company without knowing anything about engineering, essentially. So, I mean, he did. He knew a lot about engineering and programming and things like that, but, not as much as Steve Wozniak and his entire support and technical team, right? So, Steve Jobs was the visionary, and because of this, he was identified as the face, the visionary, the focus. People thought Steve Jobs was insane for a lot of the advertisements he would put out, because typically they would be rebellious against the system. He, in his Think Differently campaign specifically, he had quite a few different commercials where they had focused against a tyrannical, authoritarian society, a utopian society, was the theme of his advertisement. And the entire team, the entire board of Apple hated this. They hated his advertisements. But guess what? The world loved him, and it works. And today, that's all we do, is we watch Apple and we study Apple for how to market a brand. So we need to really focus on how important it is to truly have that long-term vision. Because if you ain't got the long-term vision, you ain't got tomorrow. Another example of an entrepreneur who had great long-term vision would be Elon Musk. Since a very young age, he was building companies. Mark Zuckerberg, building companies at a very young age. He knew exactly what he wanted to build with Facebook once he had worked with the Winklevoss brothers and taken some of their creativity from Harvard.edu. And he turned it into his own thing, Facebook.com, which was originally the Facebook. Quite interesting. Elon Musk's long-term vision created the most wealthy entrepreneur on planet Earth. Warren Buffett created a long-term vision with his investments. He knows every single time he makes an investment, he's thinking 40 years out, 50 years out. Most people are only thinking 20. Most people aren't even thinking 20 years out. Most people are thinking about 5 years out. And so that's the difference. That's why you need to have the long-term vision. What makes you different than every other employee, what makes you so different from every other entrepreneur is going to be the long-term vision and whether or not you're willing to stick to the vision, because your vision might change over time, especially with things that happen in your life, the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows. So how will you handle it? I've creating multiple income streams. Very important for your business. So one of the first things I recommend doing for most business owners who are starting a business and you've started making some money in your business, I would definitely start investing in gold, Roth IRAs, Bitcoin, ETFs. I'd start rolling any kind of profit you make into some kind of cash flow generating asset. So, Bitcoin, maybe a little risky, but probably going to get a high return. But if we're talking about safe investments with your profit, again, I'm not a financial advisor. This show is completely for entertainment and educational purposes only, and just for talking about my own experiences and my own preferences and speculations. So this is a speculation, but I truly believe in what I like to do. I like to invest in REITs, real estate investment trusts, for every single time that I make a sale. So any kind of money I can put into something like a real estate investment trust, anything that can make me some cash flow. There's several different dividend stocks you can go to on Vanguard. I like VOOG specifically because that's the S&P 500. That is the top 10 companies in the world, all combined. So I recommend that. And then there's also, like I said, cryptocurrency, which is also a great bet, and then gold. Gold, especially today in 2024, right before the market's about to completely tank. I recommend that because gold, according to Jim Rickards, is projected to go up to about $15,000, like $5,000 to in between $5,000 and $15,000, according to Jim Rickards, who worked for Wall Street and who worked for the CIA, allegedly. So, what are you going to do with your investments? It's up to you. Make sure you get a financial advisor. Be smart. Don't just trust Brendan Ecker with everything that he says. I'm not a financial advisor. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a founder and CEO. That's all. That's all I do is I start businesses. I buy businesses. I invest in businesses, and that's about it. So I have my own style, but I am not a financial advisor legally. So make sure that you speak with a financial advisor you can trust and who you believe can take you to the places that you want to go. All right. One of the other good investments you need to invest in, if you have the capital, invest in real estate. So what you need to do with your business is through your business income, you need to develop a real estate LLC and start taking your profits and flowing them into all of the real estate. So that's a good strategy to make sure that your businesses always make money. So as you start to scale, as you start to grow your business, assuming you have no money in the business and you've only made maybe 10 grand at this point, I would immediately start to invest in real estate investment trusts. I would really start to invest in any kind of real estate that you possibly can. So once you can, make sure that you're investing in real estate investment trusts or just regular real estate. Definitely recommend this because you need to be able to have cash flow in your business in order to keep the business going. Very important concept, very important step to actually growing something that's worthwhile. And so if you want to grow a business, cash flow, multiple streams of income, right? So you don't want to just sell marketing. You want to also sell a book. You want to also write a movie. You want to also sell a screenplay. Make sure that you're also selling t-shirts, even if it's print on demand. Sell AI art. Sell all this different shit. Sell whatever stuff and flip it on eBay. Be creative. Make money. Spend all your day thinking about this stuff because as you do, start to think about multiple streams of income. Suddenly you're going to have like 15 different streams of income and you're going to lose track of them like I have at this point. I don't even know how many different streams of income I have. How about you be more? How about you want to make some money? How about you want to make some riches? At the end of the day, I focus on success. Multiple streams of income is something that I have achieved. I have so many streams of income, again, I can't even keep track of it. So when you get to that point, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you start finding ways to make money work for you. Don't work for money. Make money work for you. A lot of billionaires and multi-millionaires will tell you different strategies that worked for them. And eventually you're going to find your own. What you're going to do is you're going to learn from other successful entrepreneurs in business and you're going to kind of take little pieces from how they do things, then you're going to make it into your own thing. And that's kind of how I learned to become a great police officer, right? I studied other police officers and kind of what they did and how they did the job, and then I kind of made it into my own way and just, I had my own style eventually. And that's how every cop learns to become a cop or whatever it might be. If you're a teacher, whether it's a farmer, you watch others and how they do it, and then you see how you could make it better. And that's truly the idea of building something truly amazing. And so diversifying assets, why that's so important in investments. It's an unpopular opinion. Again, Diversifying assets is an unpopular opinion to me because I truly do believe, similar to Andrew Carnegie, you need to put all your eggs in one basket and watch the basket grow. However, Ray Dalio would have an opposing view to that, where he says his principle of investing is to diversify. You need to own some gold, you need to own some Bitcoin, you need to own some XRP, you need to own some real estate investments. You need to own a couple REITs, real estate investment trusts. You should own some stock in the S&P 500. You should own a Roth IRA. You should own something that's making you money. You should own a business that's making you at least $20,000 a month. And that's how you make actual success. That's how you make an actual life for yourself. And that's the lie that they didn't teach you in school. The lie that they never revealed to you in school was that you were learning to become an employee your entire life and to never truly live. The only people who are able to live their lives in peace are the CEOs who figured it out. Whether or not you want to believe that or not, but the CEOs are the ones who have most of the power. And it's just the truth, because if you look around the world today, who are the most powerful people on earth? They're all entrepreneurs. They're all CEOs. Okay? Because the CEO fights outside of the lines. The CEO creates the world we live in. The entrepreneur creates the world we live in. So in order to do this, you need to diversify assets across all fields if you can. And so it's an important thing to be able to invest in gold, the US dollar, invest in real estate, invest in Bitcoin, all of it. You need to have the diversified assets. And I do believe that it's a more practical way to slowly but gradually and surely generate wealth over time. Now, if you're more of a risk taker, right, back to step number 10, taking calculated risks, then in this case, diversifying assets might not be such a great idea. In the case of taking calculated risks, perhaps you've done so much research on XRP or Bitcoin, or you see the trends, you see the way things are going, and you just put everything in there. But maybe you sell your house. Maybe you put your house into it. You put your $300,000 house. You sell it. I mean, this would be crazy, but people have done this. And yet you take that $300,000, you buy Bitcoin with it. But where do you think that $300,000 in Bitcoin is going to go? So you need to have a diversified investment portfolio, because if you're diversified, then you can have a much more broad range of success. When one thing goes down, another goes up. If you own gold, for example, lots and lots of gold. If you own enough Bitcoin, but you have no money, no US dollars, well, guess what would happen in the next few years? You're going to make a lot more money, because the US dollar is going down, right? The US dollar is going down, and then cryptocurrency is going up, because digital assets are the future, whether or not we want to agree with it. You go to an airport, it's all digital. You go to most events, all digital. And it's just going to get more and more ramped up as time goes on. So how are you going to adapt and endure to the times in order to benefit your life? Diversify, baby. Diversify. Delegating. Yes, delegating tasks and automating tasks is such a powerful tool. So how do you do this? Why should you do this? Well, delegating and automating tasks and responsibilities. Well, one might ask, why can't I just do all the work myself? Well, that would be foolish, one, because now you're working for money, right? You're working in your business. That's not the point of being an entrepreneur. The point of being an entrepreneur is being able to be free, flexible, and free-flowing with your ideas. So that way you can build a life you want and you can create the future. That's the idea for me of an entrepreneur, at least. I don't know how you see it, but that's how I see it. Being an entrepreneur, you should want to build the world. You should want to build the future. And so if you can focus on that, then you're going to start really wanting to delegate responsibilities and automate those tasks more. And once you get good at this, now I'll tell you right now, warning, not a financial advisor. You have to be very smart about when you do this, or else you can become bankrupt very fast. You can run up credit cards really fast. I did this. I ran up 2 credit cards. One was a business credit card and one was my personal credit card. Ran them both up. Guess what? 0 profit out of that. So I had hired a CGO. He did a very good job for the most part. He did all the tasks I asked him. He was very good. But everybody else that he had hired, and again, it wasn't his fault. We did not have a lot of funds to invest in this team. So essentially, I was doing everything wrong too. Okay, I was trying to hire like 14 players on one team for like peanuts. Like, I was basically paying them as little as I possibly could off of Upwork. And this did not work for me. Nobody worked for me, actually. They came to the meetings. Half of them would come to the meetings, our Zoom meetings that we would schedule every single Monday. Half of them would show up. And then 1 or 2 people would actually do some work. And it wouldn't be that much work. Why do you think that is? Why didn't they do work for me? Why didn't they want to work for me? Well, it's because I didn't pay them enough, right? We paid them the bare minimum amount. And so you're often going to get what you pay for. So the funny part is, my best talent that I had hired, I had paid him the best. I was paying him about $35 bottles an hour, $35 an hour. I was paying him $35 an hour. And he was working about, I think it was 8 hours a week off of Upwork. You know, I was keeping it pretty short. I was trying to minimize spending. And this worked great, fantastically. He did everything I said, but all of the people I had him hire for the cheapest, the lowest bidders, essentially, they did nothing for me. They did not get any results for me. They hardly even worked. And they tried a little bit, some of them, but a lot of them didn't even try at all. And it's because, why would they? Because, again, would you work for $7 an hour, $10 an hour, $15 an hour, maybe 15, right? But, typically that's all we were able to pay them for. And so, versus getting paid $35 an hour, how much harder would you work for somebody? You'd obviously work harder for the guy who's going to pay you $35 an hour, right? And so that's kind of the problem, and that's kind of the issue that I had run into when I was delegating and automating tasks. I had run up 2 different credit cards, $6,000 about I'd spend on a team, and they were the worst team ever. When I really should have just invested all my money in this one player who was my best player on that team and was able to just get things done. I couldn't imagine if I just had that money back at that time, and if I could just rewind how much faster we could have scaled if him and I had just grown that together, and if I had just paid him and just avoided all the extra expenses. So you have to learn this. This goes back to step number 9, where you have to be involved in learning all the time, continuous learning and education. You're constantly going to be making mistakes. Money's going to be going out the door if you're doing things right in your business, if you're innovating, if you're trying to build new things, if you're trying to become better in your business. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you're delegating tasks and getting good at it, learning how to do it correctly. Because when I did learn how to do it correctly, when I learned that paying for the most expensive talent is oftentimes the best ROI, then I stuck with that and I learned it and never made the same mistakes I did with hiring 14 people at like $10 an hour, right? The minimum I was able to pay them. I mean, I would have paid them more if I could, right? Obviously, I wasn't trying to be cheap, but it was just all I was able to afford at the time when I was starting the businesses. So now we've scaled up to a certain point to where we can, spend more on ads, and I can have a very small team, but I like a small team. And the reason for this is because they will work harder for you. Again, Warren Buffett only has the same exact people working for him that he's worked with his entire life at Berkshire Hathaway. Think about that. Why? Because it's trust. It's cheaper at the end of the day. He probably pays them extremely well, but it's a smaller team, right? It's not hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees. It's a smaller team, compact, loyal, an army. Quite honestly, it's an army. It's a special forces squadron. It's almost what it's like when you look at Warren Buffett's team at Berkshire Hathaway. His entire life, they've been honored. They've been working their asses off for the guy because 1, pays them well. 2, they have a loyal position there. And according to Warren Buffett, this is one of the best strategies to keeping a profitable business over time. And me and Charlie had learned this. Your network is your net worth. This is often said, and it is true to the fullest degree. The more conversations you have with human beings face-to-face, in particular, face-to-face, handshake to handshake, like you can touch the human being, you can actually touch them, right? You can actually see their face, you can smell their breath. That is a real interaction that will make you money. That's the secret nobody wants to listen to. Everybody's an introvert today. Everybody's on their phone. Everybody's so disconnected and detached from society that we just want to be on our phones and do business through our phones. But guess what? Millions of people are doing that already. We're all annoyed by one another. People don't want to talk on the phone. People don't want to hop on a Zoom call. At the end of the day, the best business deals are going to be the ones where you're talking to people face to face. You can smell their breath. You can touch their skin. Those are the best, absolutely the best business interactions because it's so sacred, right? Like even the NSA can't technically hear you when you think about it, right? Of course, that's if your phone's not on you and if you have no other technology and if the satellites aren't working at their full capacity. I mean, because we do have some powerful technology. I mean, U.S. military is pretty unstoppable. But they make it look like we're not, but we have some very, very, very powerful shit today. Anyways, I digress. So you need to build a powerful network. If you want to be successful and rich, and if you want to have a business that makes money for you, if you don't want to be an employee that makes somebody else rich, then you need to have a network of people that can help make you rich. But, some people might think, well, you should just join a network. Join a network of people. That works. That can work. But what works even better than that is to build your own network. So what I started doing, for example, what's been working for me, a lot of the clients I've gotten for Gold Shark Media, the first thing I'll do is I'll bring them on for a podcast interview, and I'll let them tell their story. Let them talk about their life and why they got into business, entrepreneurship, why they wanted to start their company, what does it matter to them, why is it important for the world. And you let people tell their stories. You give them a chance to go viral on YouTube. Again, we don't have many people watching our YouTube channel. We have a small YouTube channel right now. We're not huge. I'm not advertising the channel yet. We'll be advertising it more. I got plans, baby. We're going to be growing with the YouTube channel. I got plans. However, what's worked for me is building a powerful network, and, through my podcast guests, is really turning those into clients over time, nurturing those leads into clients. Because that's a great way to get in the game and differentiate yourself. Again, being different than every other entrepreneur. Because every entrepreneur wants money. Every entrepreneur wants freedom. Every entrepreneur wants a better life. That's the whole reason we all became entrepreneurs. We want more. The challenge is too great. We have this need to succeed. Most important strategy for success is time management. So, in your life, there are many things that are going to hold you back and stop you from chasing your goals, from even realizing your goals, and then eventually capturing them. There are so many distractions. You are covered in this world with this world is covered in entertainment, curtained and blanketed by entertainment. Our eyes are completely always just closed and shut. And that's the problem, is that most are not awake, but that can also be good for you as an entrepreneur. Because most are not awake, because most still believe that there is a system that works for them. And yes, there is. It's your system. It's your business. Truly, at the end of the day, your business is going to be the solution for your client. So this is why you do need to take your client seriously. For one, you need to make sure that you want to give them the best possible results, because those will be the people who pay you later and put food on your table. So one of the main reasons it's so important to manage your time is because everybody wants your time, and because we don't have a limitless amount of time. We go to work for money. That's why people go to a job, for money. But that's not what rich people do. Rich people don't go to work for money. We go to work for time. So how do we do that? How do we work for more time? Well, we make money work for us. By making money work for you, right? Investing in those cash flowing assets, by focusing on your goals, by getting things done, executing and taking action and getting on the laptop every single day, and you're really getting things done, right? You're filming YouTube episodes, you're actually posting stuff, you're texting, you're on Sales Navigator, you're sending DMs, you're doing whatever it takes, you're creating graphic designs, you're doing free video edits for potential clients, whatever you could possibly do to generate some wealth for yourself so you can make a better life. This is so critical. This is so critical, because if you don't master your time, then your time will go to somebody else, and their time will be managed fine, but yours will be working for them. Manage your time. When you get home from work, if you have a job, you got no money, but you want to build a business, as soon as you get home, and if you're too tired, bullshit, you're not too tired, you're just too lazy, get on the laptop, get to work, get something done, make some kind of progress. Don't let the outside world distract you. Don't let the negative things distract you. Don't let anything distract you. No matter the mood you're in, good or bad, the same amount of work should always get done, even if it's just an hour. But if it's an hour of straight work, just every single day, getting something done, I guarantee you will be in a better position to succeed. Manage your time. How does that mean? How do you best manage your time? Well, are you working out and staying physically fit too within your 24 hours? As Arnold Schwarzenegger said, we all have 24 hours in a day. How are you spending your 24 hours? You should spend a little bit of your 24 hours working out, getting physically fit and stronger every single day. making sure your body is equipped for hell when it does come, if and when it does come. And then you should also be reading, spending time perfecting and learning and, strengthening your mind, your brain. Because guess what? When you're old, what are you going to have when you can't move around and when you can't bench press 315 anymore? When you can't squat 585? What are you going to do when you can't deadlift 615? Well, your brain is going to be all you really got, your mind. Hopefully your family you'll have too, but as you get older, you need to assume that you might be the last one in your family to live. So what does that mean? You need to have a strong mind. How have you managed your time up to that point? Because managing your time can give you more life or less life. Managing your time. What are you spending your time doing? Smoking cigarettes? Or are you spending your time working? Are you spending your time with your friends at the clubs? Or are you spending your time on your laptop trying to figure out how to code, even though you've never known how to code in your life? What are you spending your time doing? Time management. If you want to have a successful business, if you want to grow your business to millions, you need to master the clock. You need to master time. The sands in the hourglass are always running out. You need to ask yourself again, how do you want to be remembered? What are you going to achieve in this world? And what are you going to do with that time you're given? You never let time go to waste. Again, I could have a heart attack in 5 seconds and just die, and this could never get released. You have to understand these things. If you do not understand these things, then imagine how much harder your life would actually be. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of the Brennan Ecker Influence. I hope we made you a little bit smarter and helped you out in your business process a little bit. I understand it's a grind when you're growing and when you're trying to get to the next level. But don't give up. You never quit. Because everybody wants you to quit. Everybody wants you to be average. Everybody wants you to be less than what you know you could be. So fuck that. Fuck them. You fucking go get your greatness. Go get your success. Chase the life you want. Chase the life you know you deserve and you could have. Be the leader you know God created you to be. Don't let the haters win. Don't let the evil ones win. What is the evil ones? Well, that's a whole nother YouTube episode. Perhaps you can answer that for yourself. But are you going to be good? Are you going to be evil? Are you going to be successful? Are you going to be a failure? Are you going to sink or are you going to swim? Are you going to make money and millions of dollars? Or are you going to be left with nothing in shambles and regret? How will you live your life? Stay prudent, stay powerful, and stay wealthy.